this week live from the Shizebo, hoping that my neighbor's not going to start a lawnmower. We'll see. But look, I love looking up in the Shizebo. It's just so cool. I wanted to share that with you. And also my flowers this week. Oh, there we go. Are awesome. And I just want to say, encouraging. I'm reading this book called Happier. And if you've been reading my newsletters for the past few weeks, you might have seen me highlight it here and there. And it just really speaks to me that, there are a lot of things in this book that I have already learned, right? Read, know. And what's really speaking to me is the layering on of learning. Like, that's why I guess love of learning is one of my top strengths. But for all of us to know, we don't learn something once. We might read it and know something about it, but to keep studying it, it helps us to integrate it, to actually learn and live it instead of just read something and learn it. Every time I read a book like this one is based in positive psychology again. I love the subtitle, Learn the Secrets to Daily Joy and Lasting Fulfillment. Doesn't that sound great? But it doesn't happen with one reading of a book. It just means devotion. Keep reading. And you could read the same book, like I could read this book 4 times this year, or I could read this book 4 times over the next 4 years. The point is that I keep layering on the learning, and there I will reap the benefits. Even reading it once, of course, there are good benefits. And so what's really coming up for me with this is, yes, being happier is a pursuit. It's not a destination. One of the first things he says in this book is that we need to look at it as a process, which made me think of reinvention again, because it's never ending, right? Like, we don't get to be just happy and not have to maintain that, and then we're just happy forever. Our life is changing. We're changing by the minute, right? So this is intentional. So I recommend this book because there are some really great ideas. There's some great exercises to discover some things. So engage with it. One of the things that you also realize is that, again, something you probably know, but to think about, your happiness is your responsibility. It's not up to anyone else to make you happy, for them to do things that don't rock your boat or don't make you feel good. They get to live their life. By the same token, you get to live your life, and you are not responsible for anyone else's happiness. So sometimes it can be tricky, right? Because we don't want to make other people unhappy, but that's the flip side of the coin. That means that I'm actually thinking that it is my responsibility to make someone happy. So your main goal is to make yourself happy, to feel good in this life, and then from there it extends out. You're your best for other people. That's the gift that you get to give them. But if you're always worrying about what someone else might think, or how they might be unhappy with what you're doing, or that you might make them unhappy with what you're doing, then you never get to live your life, and you never get to feel your own happiness, not to the fullest extent. So again, I recommend this book. I recommend flowers. Zoom in. Pretty. I recommend being outside as much as possible. But really, all that being said, I recommend you finding out what makes you happy. These things make me happy. They fill me up. They help me combat the other things in life that can be hard and can be draining. Because guess what? Those things are always going to be part of our life. We don't get to banish those either, because, right, we signed up to live a full life. I know I did, and I know you did too, because you're listening and watching. So we learn to fill ourselves up with all the things that are most meaningful to us, so that when those other things happen, we have grace on our sides, we have resilience on our sides, we have stores of energy. So all this stuff. So forever and ever more. That's just it. But after a while, when you dial it in, you figure it out, and you are living your life this way. It's not work. It's not hard to do. It's just sometimes getting the momentum going. And if you get off track, You always have these things to fall back on. It might be work to get the momentum going again, but it won't take that long. And just see what you think. So this week, decide to be happier. It's a choice. Being happy is a choice. Things can happen. They happen to all of us. More than we know, because we don't all talk about all the things that happen to us. So just know that and keep on going. So pursuit of happiness this week. That's your mission. Okay, and have a great week ahead. I will see you next week.